everybody. So this is day 2 of the freeze. Supposedly it's gonna like tickle freezing tonight, but allegedly it's not gonna drop below. It probably will anyway. So I don't know if you can tell from all these sad, saggy leaves, but what just happened here is what you would call a starting over point, I guess. And I'll take you for a tour to show you just how intensive starting over means in this case. But it's okay. We'll bounce past it, but it's it's a shame, especially this passion fruit vine that has taken over the entire pergola. I really hope that's not dead and I don't have to remove all this, but time will tell, I guess. So let's take a look at what we've got. So here we are in the front, and this is my fig tree, which is probably not gonna make it. It doesn't look too promising. This died once before, and it came back, but it came back as something else. It was kind of an interesting thing to watch. And the bananas, those are just about as done as they can become. So we're gonna have to probably just chop everything down at the base, and let what's gonna grow back grow back. And this cherry tree didn't really have a start at life before the freeze got it. So let's venture on back to the back. So I've already removed some stuff from here. The okras that I attempted to wrap don't look, I'm not really sure at the moment actually. It could go either way. They don't look terribly bad and they don't look terribly good. But they won't be photosynthesizing, that's for sure. And these peppers, I think the visual here says all you need to know, really. Now this passion fruit was really coming along great. We have a ton of passion fruits growing out of it, and I can't even pick all of them out, but this one is ruined. You can feel it. There's another one. This thing was in full production. And there's a little fig tree that has probably also met its maker here. Now I did have some new starts. I was using those as lids so the chickens didn't peck on them. I did move those to the garage before all this, so I think they may make it. The papaya, or not papaya, guava, it was coming along, but I think it's also not gonna make it. And those are just ornamental. Now the chickens, Bella here, poor baby, is going through her first molt. So she's losing her insulation at the exact time all this happened. And now they say that your best layer is going to be your worst molter, so she's going through a hard molt right now. And the rest are going through a soft molt, so they're losing feathers, but at a rate so slow you can't really tell. And the jalapenos have probably also gone, as well as the sweet potatoes. And of course, the backyard banana tree. Now, there is a ton of stuff just scattered about the yard. The winds that came with the storm were insane. I think it was like 50 or 60 mile an hour gusts. Dato is in the coop laying an egg at the moment, so that's why she's not on camera. Yeah, I really, really pity Bella for her untimely molting here, but I guess life must do what life must do. And I had to, that's that little water I keep in their coop in case anybody decides to get thirsty at night. And the past 2 nights I've had to take it out because it's frozen solid in the morning. There's Luna, just cruising around, seeing if there's any bugs. The wind blew that pot over too. This was an insane bit of weather. But yeah, that is where we're at right now. Okay, so that's the status of things, and it's pretty fair to say this is what you would call a starting over point, because I really don't think much is going to be thriving at the end of this, and I guess you could say that's alright. I mean, you know, every time something like this happens, which is very rare, like maybe once every 2 years, well, to this extent, never actually. I mean, my entire life, really, they call this like a once in a generation storm. But as long as we've lived in South Texas, there's been one random snow, like just one night it snowed and the next day it was 70 degrees, and 3 freezes in these 7 years. So this isn't something that, you know, any of the plants or animals or people down here is like equipped for. So it's gonna take a toll for sure. But that's all right. I'm looking forward to documenting the journey back to a thriving urban farm. Fortunately, this happened at a time when everything was pretty much barren to begin with, because it's winter, so there's, you know, not that much we can do aside from, or the winter crops didn't do well because the chickens got to them, and then the birds got to the seeds for the next batch. So right now, the ones that are in the garage, hopefully I have some broccoli, some lettuce, and kale, and sweet peas. And if all goes well, those will go in the ground shortly after this, on the assumption there's not going to be any more freezes. And then we will pick it up from there, and hopefully have a awesome spring and summer to document. So as you can see, this has been kind of tilled up by the chickens, and as much as I've fought to keep them from doing that, I just went ahead and let them to kind of, you know, aerate the soil and do some tillage to an extent. And I thought something cool to take everybody along for would be some chemical soil testing after all of this, to see what the freeze has done to the soil microbe quality. And no, it's not going to be like a lab send off full spectrum analysis, but it'll just be some, you know, micronutrients like potassium, calcium, nitrogen, test the pH, and it'll just be an interesting thing to find out after everything we did to the soil, all the you know, supplementation with compost, and letting the chickens have their field trips inside of there to destroy and fertilize it at the same time. Chickens are a strange animal because they're very destructive, but they're constructive in their destruction. And it took me a while to wrap my head around that, but right now that everything is like this, I'm fine with that. When everything is prospering, I really don't want to watch them do that, but we've been letting them out unsupervised quite a bit recently because, well, after the freeze, there's no real reason not to. I mean, they literally cannot mess anything up worse than it is, so they're just doing their thing. And Bella is also doing her thing, which is sadly molting. And I think she's a little self-conscious, probably doesn't want to be in video. But okay, I'm going to let everybody go, and next time I check in, this weather should be over, and we can move on to bigger and better things, and hopefully this insane cold will be out of the way, because I'm not really made for it, and I don't think, well, nothing down here is made for it, really. Alright, take care, everybody.